At the beginning of the story, we see 15-year-old Simi, who was a bit chubby. Heavier in weight, she had come to her aunt's place to celebrate Easter, the festival that Christians celebrate. Simi's aunt, Claudia's house, was in a deserted area. She had previously been a nutritionist. He wrote many books on food and drink, what people should eat and what they should not, and how they should take care of their health. All her books were about, food and drink. Anyway, Simi meets her aunt, who asks her the reason for coming. So Simi explains that she had never seen her before, and that's why she wanted to meet her. Claudia asks Simi how many days she plans to stay here, and Simi replies, a week. Claudia says, no, you cannot stay at my house for a week, so you should leave here first, Mr. C. Hearing this, Simi is a bit surprised. Claudia says, because we prefer to make it alone. Now, as she is leaving, she tells Simi that she can stay in her son's room, after which Simi calls her mom. Simi's actual purpose for being here was something else. She was shy to reveal that she was quite overweight, so she had come to her aunt to learn things that would help her look beautiful like a slim girl. At night, when everyone is having dinner, we are introduced to Claudia's son, whose name was Philip. In fact, Philip's real father had passed away. After that, Claudia married another man who used to live with them. But while eating, Simi notices something. Claudia's husband does not like her son, Philip, at all. Claudia lovingly brings food for Philip. She cut the meat into small pieces and gave it to Philip to eat. Simi sees that Philip and she are eating at the table, while Claudia and her husband were just sitting there. That same night, Simi was very troubled by her obesity. And, as we know, this was also her reason for coming to her aunt's place. He behaves rudely with Simi in the room because he didn't want to keep her in his room. Then Claudia comes, who had kissed her son good night and checked his phone before leaving. The next morning, Simi goes for a walk in the forest where she sees a hut made of dry wood, in which a bag was also kept. Anyway, she doesn't pay much attention to it and returns home. After taking a shower, when she comes back, she sees Claudia's husband exercising. Simi was surprised to see that he was still so fit, even though he was quite old. But now he looked like a young man. Simi goes to the room and sees her aunt, who was putting her belongings in the closet. Claudia finds her book among Simi's things, and she is happy to see it and asks, have you read my book? Simi replies, yes, I read all your books. In the evening, Simi sees Claudia and her husband were very worried because Flip had gone somewhere. They even called the police, and then all three of them went out to search for him. Soon, they found Flip in the nearby forest. Claudia was very happy to see her son and relieved that he was found quickly. At night, Claudia tells Simi that, if you want to lose weight, I can help you. For dinner, Claudia makes a very delicious meal, but she was only giving it to Flip, and tells Simi that, if you want to be thin, you shouldn't eat anything for the next 4 days. Hearing this, Simi was a bit surprised, as she wasn't prepared for all these things. She didn't know that Claudia would stop her food so quickly. At that moment, she also noticed that Flip was always scared and timid. When Simi was throwing away the leftover food from the night, she felt like eating a little, but she controlled herself. Before going to bed at night, Claudia also checks her weight. She tells Simi that she will check her weight every day and that Simi must follow everything she says, otherwise she can never become a beautiful girl. Simi promises her aunt Claudia that she will follow everything she says, which makes Claudia happy. Later, when Simi goes to bed at night, she sees a dead mouse, which frightens her, and she calls for Claudia. She cleaned up the dead mouse. Now Simi didn't want to sleep on that bed because she was scared. She felt that it might be Flip's doing because she had always seen a knife in his hand, and the mouse's head was also cut off. So she decided to sleep on the sofa outside while she was taking her bedding. She met Claudia's husband on the way, who said, why do you need to lose weight? You look good just the way you are. Simi didn't like hearing these things from Claudia's husband's mouth, so she ignored his words and walked away. In this way, 3 days pass by. Simi hadn't eaten anything for the past 2 days. When she sees Flip having breakfast in the morning, she also feels like eating, but she was bound by Claudia's hands. She had promised her that she wouldn't eat anything. That's when Claudia calls Simi into the room, because she found a chocolate wrapper in her bag. She angrily tells Simi, "You have broken our rules, while I am trying to help you lose weight." Simi says, "No, I didn't eat anything. It must have been Philip who put it there." Claudia says, "All right, I will give you one more chance. But if you make another mistake after this, I will not forgive you and will never help you again." After this, Simi sees that Philip was injured and Claudia was giving him steam. It seemed like someone had hit him in the eye. When asked, Claudia explains that Philip fell down the stairs and nothing more. Simi felt that maybe Claudia's husband, was hitting Philip. Philip also remained silent, so she couldn't ask him anything either. At night, only Philip eats dinner. Simi was just watching him. Obviously, her meal was stopped too. At night, Claudia gives Simi an amulet. She puts it around her neck and says, "Look, if you feel hungry, just kiss this amulet, and you will never feel hungry." Even after the mouse died in the room, she didn't go to sleep there. She used to sleep on the sofa outside. And today, she was preparing to sleep there again. So she tells Claudia that she has some work to do today, so she should go to her room and sleep. Claudia was actually writing a book. Simi asks, "Can I see your book?" Claudia says, "No, not yet. There are very strange things in it that are not easy for the average person to understand." And perhaps that was the reason why Claudia's books had stopped selling. What exactly was in Claudia's possession? We will find out as the story progresses. Simi, however, goes to her room. She couldn't sleep because of hunger, so she gets up and starts looking for food in the fridge. But the fridge was completely empty, and just then Claudia's husband comes in, who was behaving rudely with Simi. Simi had a knife in her hand, with which she injures him. Just then she woke up, which means it was just a dream for Simi. When she goes and opens the fridge, all the food items were there, and it was already morning as usual. He eats alone here. Simi thinks that since I want to lose weight, I won't eat. But what exactly is the secret of Claudia and her husband? They never feel hungry, and they have never eaten in front of her. Simi remains hungry. 5 days pass by. Today, Claudia's husband was going hunting. Claudia asks her husband to take Philip along with him. Simi also looks at them and asks, "Can I come with you too?" Claudia's husband was ready to take the children hunting, so the three of them go hunting. Philip wasn't very good at hunting, but he still manages to hunt a rabbit. When he goes closer to look, he sees that the rabbit wasn't completely dead. It was writhing. Raya's husband gives a knife to Philip and tells him to kill it so that the rabbit doesn't suffer. Philip was very nervous. He seemed extremely scared. Then Simi comes to him and kills the rabbit with the knife. At home, she asks Philip why he is always so scared. "Do your fears kill you?" Philip says, "No, I'm not afraid of my fears, but I'm afraid of my mom. She must be trying to harm me." Simi says, "You are thinking wrong. Your mom is a good woman. Why would she harm you?" Philip says, "It's just a pretense of her being good." After hearing everything, Simi goes to Claudia and asks why Philip thinks so wrongly about her. Hearing this, Claudia started crying. She tells Simi that my son's mind is unstable. He often runs away from home, and now even the police don't help us find him because he has run away many times. That's why he also hates me. After listening to everything, Simi encourages Claudia, and she went back to sleep in the same room again. Just then, Claudia comes over, who, like every day, had come to say good night to Philip. As soon as Claudia leaves, Philip says to Simi, "Did you see? They hate me. They will kill me one day." Simi doesn't pay much attention to these things with Philip because she felt that maybe he is crazy and talks nonsense. In the morning, Simi sees that Claudia is burying something outside. When she checks, after Claudia leaves, she finds a doll and a picture of Philip there. Seeing this, Simi was shocked and calls her mom to tell her everything. Her mom says that Claudia does believe in such black magic, but yes, she cannot harm anyone. Just then, Claudia also came from behind. Seeing this, Simi also hangs up the phone. Strange thoughts were coming to Simi's mind, so she wanted to look at the book that Claudia had recently been writing. As soon as she looks at the book, she gets scared because it contained things like black magic and drawings of ghosts, and it also described how to eat one's own children during the magic. Seeing all this left Simi in a terrible state, and she wanted to leave from there. One day, she sees Claudia feeding Philip while hitting him. Simi found all this strange, and she didn't want to stay here even for a moment. So she makes a plan and tells Philip that she has stolen the key to the gate. Philip says that at 6 in the morning, both of us will leave this house. After saying this, Simi went to sleep, but when she wakes up, it was already 8 in the morning. Philip was not there, and the door of the house was open. She thinks this means Philip left her here and ran away alone. Just then, Claudia's husband comes in and asks Simi if she wants to go back to her home. She says yes, she doesn't want to stay here any longer. He tells her to pack her things and he will drop her off. Simi. Before leaving the house, Simi sends a message to Philip one last time, asking where he is. In response, Philip sends her a picture of his finger, as if he was teasing her. Seeing this, Simi got angry. He was crazy, and everything Claudia had told her about him was true. So, Simi changed her decision. She goes to her Aunt Claudia and decides to stay there until Easter. Claudia was happy that Simi listened to her and had been hungry for the past few days. The day of Easter arrives. Claudia and her husband prepare the meal. They set up a table outside their house. Some candles are also lit. Claudia brings out roast meat, which this time Claudia, her husband, and Simi were eating. Simi hadn't eaten in a long time, so the food tasted very delicious to her. After eating, when Simi goes to sleep, she cannot fall asleep. Her gaze suddenly goes down, and she finds Flip's knife, which he always used to keep with him. Now, it feels strange to her. She looks at the picture he sent once again, which she does. When she examines the picture closely, it was a picture of the farmhouse where a little was kept. Simi had seen all of this before. That's why she feels that maybe he is hiding in the house. When she goes and calls out for Flip, her suspicion was correct. She finds Flip in the farmhouse, but not alive. He was dead. Half of his body was cut, which Simi had eaten as meat for dinner, and so had everyone else. It was Flip's. Seeing this, Simi couldn't control herself. She had gone mad. Just then, Claudia's husband comes over, who consoles her and says it's no big deal. Come on, I'll take you home. You'll forget everything soon. This means Claudia's husband was also involved with her. At that moment, Simi, holding Flip's knife, stabs Claudia's husband and runs away, from there. He chases after her with his gun and tells Claudia, "Look, she's running away." Simi was running towards the forest, crying. Claudia also follows her. She wanted to explain to Joe, but Simi had reached the point we saw at the beginning of the story. The bag she had seen earlier contained gasoline. Claudia wanted to kill Simi by engaging her in conversation, but Simi pours the same oil on her and burns her alive. Then somehow she managed to escape to her car, where Claudia's husband was writhing in pain, injured. He tells Simi, "Please take this gun and kill me." But Simi does not kill him. She wanted him to continue suffering like that. That's what should have happened to them. At the end of this story, it is revealed that Claudia used to worship dark or occult forces, meaning she was part of a cult that had a ritual of consuming their own children. Claudia believed that her son would now be immortal because after consuming him, he had become a part of their body. From this story, we learn that Claudia believed in all these things, and a person with such beliefs can go to any extent. However, bad deeds always have bad consequences, as happened with Claudia and her husband, and with this, the story of the film also ends here.